What's going on, people? It's your boy Kelechi back with another episode of the Ramblin' Mind Podcast. How are each and every single one of y'all doing today? I hope y'all are staying safe. I hope y'all are taking care of yourselves. I hope y'all are doing all the things you know you ought to do during these times, my friends. Man, I hope things are going really well for y'all. And happy Resurrection Sunday. I'm recording this on Easter Sunday. Happy Resurrection Sunday to everyone out there. I thank God that he died, but he surely did rise again. And we thank him for that. And the weather is beautiful. I don't know why I turn into a weather reporter every time I jump on the mic. But anyway, today the weather is amazing. I'm probably going to go outside at some point and enjoy some of that weather. But that's not why you're here. Today we're going to continue talking on the discussion of expectations. I don't know, like this idea of expectations is just continually being on my mind. It's just the idea of how we set expectations for ourselves. Last week I shared a little bit of the idea of expectations, but more in the idea of who do we choose to live for? Do we live for ourselves or do we live for everybody else? Do we live the life that we are designed to live, or do we live the life that we want to design for ourselves, or do we live the life that the world designs for us and pushes us into that usually leaves us very empty and very unhappy? And that idea has just continued to ruminate in my mind, and it's just been something I want to continue talking about for a little bit and continue shaping our thoughts. Because let's be honest, me jumping on this podcast in one way or another, my thoughts are influencing the things that you do as well. So me making this podcast, you listening to it, it's a very intimate experience, if we're being honest. And I'm sharing some of my thoughts with you in the hopes of influencing you to take control of your life back, to make decisions based on what you want to do rather than what everybody wants to do. But before we get into any of that, I want to tell y'all a quick story. So the other night I went to my pastor's house for dinner. I don't remember what we ate, but it was a really good time. So I went to his house and his wife cooked that night, but you know, she was late from work. She had to go, he had to go get the kids, and she was going to cook, but she came home late from work, and you know, she just kind of scrambled around and rushed and made some stuff. But I remember eating it and being like, yo, this is really good. Like, can I have seconds? Can I eat some more? And she was like, what? Like, this ain't nothing. And part of it is maybe she was just being humble, but regardless, I was like, yo, this is really good. I actually enjoyed this meal. Can I have some more? So I asked for more and she gave me some more. She was very happy. And she was like, wow, okay. On my way out, I was like, thank you so much for the food. The food was really good. Like, I really enjoyed the food. Thank you for putting the time in and making that. And she was so shocked. She was like, oh my God, Kelechi, you are so easily impressed. And I was like, I don't know why you're saying that. The food was still good. But it wasn't the first time that I've heard words like that. I hear that from people from time to time where they're like, oh, you just like are easy to impress. It doesn't take much for you to get impressed. If you just easily get blown away by basically almost everything. And I never really put much thought into it, or I didn't think that much about it until I read this blog post by Morgan Housel. You already know, by Morgan Housel, called Expectations and Reality. And it had a story in there about Stephen Hawking. And the story was really interesting that it had in there about Stephen Hawking. It says that in 2004, the New York Times interviewed Stephen Hawking, the late scientist whose motor neuron disease left him paralyzed and unable to talk since age 21. Apparently in a good mood, the Times asked Hawkins, "Are you always this cheerful? Seriously, how do you keep your spirits up?" Hawkins replied, "My expectations were reduced to 0 when I was 21. Everything since then has been a bonus." Everything since then has been a bonus. Reading that story, I was like, well, dang, that's a different way to look at the world. He's like, well, the only thing that I was going to be able to do in my life is basically be a vegetable. So anything joyful that happens becomes an experience, or anything that happens becomes an experience. It's like a surprise gift. Now, of course, we all know Stephen Hawking. He has all kinds of research that we use till this day. He's done so many amazing things in the world. But just that mindset, that is crazy to think about. And we've all experienced something on that level where we've met people that seem to be in worse circumstances that we are in, but yet they seem happier than we are. We've met people who are in better circumstances than we are in, and they are more depressed than we are. And we look at them and we're like, yo, why are you like this? Like, what would you do if you were in my shoes? What would you do if you had to deal with the things that I have to deal with? Or other people look at us and like, yo, what, look at, count your blessings. Look at all the things that you have. And yet you are here, depressed, unhappy, and all this stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like depression is not a condition and all that stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about in general day-to-day life. In general day-to-day life. I'm sure if we asked a lot of people who seem more happier than us, they'll give us the same answer that Stephen Hawking did, which is everything since then has been a bonus. My expectations were reduced to zero, and everything since then has been a bonus. And then I thought back to the meal that I had with my pastor, and it dawned on me. When I went for the meal, I wasn't really expecting much. I went in with only two expectations in mind. I went in to have a good time with good people, to spend some time with good people. And the second expectation was, at least there's going to be food anyway. At least there's going to be food anyway. And so when I got into the house and I got welcomed with open arms and joy filled the room, and I was able to play with the kids, and the conversations we had was beautiful and meaningful and deep and enjoyable. And my pastor created an environment that was warm, relaxed, friendly. When that was the environment, the food was an added bonus. The food was no longer like a hit or a miss. It was just like, this is an added bonus on a great time that I get to have with great people. The food just ended up being an extra medium of sharing something together, of being able to spend time in each other's presence. So it became a bonus to me at that point. It became an enjoyable bonus of just like, wow, I'm having a great time. Expectations play a massive role in our life. Expectations can either lead us to disappointments or to happiness. We can have two people go through the exact same thing, do the exact same thing, and one person will be joyous on the moon, and the other person will be suffering at the depths of the ocean. The exact same situation can play out in two different people's lives, and they can experience it in completely different ways. Have you ever been to a restaurant and everybody has to wait, and you see a group of people and they're just so joyous, they're enjoying each other's company, they're having a good conversation, they're having to wait an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, and you see another group of people and they're frustrated, like, and you just hear them all the time like, oh, why do we have to wait this long? Why can't they just make this thing go faster? Oh my God, I've been waiting here for so long. Why is it so? But the other group of people are enjoying. You look at them and you're like, wow, they're really enjoying themselves right now. Or a better example, look at kids. Kids can be in a terrible situation. They put them in the situation as long their only expectation is, well, my mom brought me here. I don't really care. But as long as I can run around. As long as I can run around. But we have an expectation that when I go to a restaurant, they serve me. I am a Patreon in this restaurant, so serve me. Serve me. Because that's the expectations that we've been groomed to have when we go to a restaurant. Our expectations are fueled not just by our own desires, but also by the things that we read, the things that we watch, and the things that we listen to. It is also shaped by our family. If you were in a family where when you went to a restaurant, it was always on time and hand delivered to you, Versus if you lived in a family where it was like, we're just going out to eat. And if we get good food, great. Like, we don't even go out to eat that much. So when we do go out to eat, it's a special occasion. It's a big deal. When you go out to eat, you will appreciate it more. So your families can set expectations for you. Or if they expect you to live life in a certain way, to move in accordance to the things that they've written down as this is the thing that you have to do. You should do this. Expectations are also shaped by society. There are certain things that society just expects us to do, which is why I love little kids, because they break the rules of society and remind us that we don't live in a collected, clean environment. We were at church today and some people were getting frustrated that kids were crying. I was like, what do you expect them to do? They're kids. They should cry. That's their job. If you can't deal with a kid crying, it's not on the child, it's on you. But I think the biggest one that shapes our expectations today, above our parents, above society, well, I guess it's kind of tied to society, but above our parents, above our own desires and wants and need, is social media and traditional media. Social media and traditional media. These are now the largest forces that shape and mold our expectations for life. Mold the way that we see the world. Mold the way we expect the world to be. And there are two examples of how I want to share how this has happened in our daily life. How sometimes it seems innocuous, it seems small, it seems minuscule. But like I said last week, it's little drop-ins. It's little drop-ins that eventually saturate and fool us out and become who we are, that make us who we are. It's not everything happening at one time. It's little drop-ins. It's little dosing. What is that? There was a movie once. I don't know the name of the movie, but the way she ended up, she was in a very abusive relationship, and the way she ended up killing the guy was slowly poisoning him. Small little doses of poison, slowly poisoning him. He never noticed it. Never noticed it. Never saw it coming. So here's two quick examples of how society has shaped our expectations. In the 1980s, the average home size was 1,595 square feet. In 2018, the average home size was 2,386 square feet. However, our household sizes has decreased ever more so since 1940s. We have more space for less people. It is expected that due to the pandemic and now with the need for even more things in our homes, houses will continue to grow larger and larger and larger. So that's expectation number one. Second one, in the 1940s, the average wedding cost about $6,000. Now you're going to be like, oh, what about inflation? That is an inflation adjusted dollars. $6,000. In 2013, the average wedding cost $30,000. The cost has ballooned from being 25% of household income to more than 50% of household income. And of course, with COVID and inflation, those prices are going up. It's going to be way more than 50%. I know after this year, it's going to be way more than 50%. So the question is, how did this happen? What happened? It's very simple. Our expectations changed. Our expectations changed. With the rise of shows like HGTV and Instagram being more popular, and even TikTok now being a part of that too, everything has changed. Our expectation of what we're looking for when we go search for a house has completely changed. Things that used to be luxury add-ons have become must-have items. Things that used to be nice to have in our homes have become, I have to have it in my house. HGTV popularized the idea of fixer-uppers, popularized the idea of so many different things that we have to have in our homes. Because if we don't have it, our house is not complete. Our home is not complete. Zillow recently released a study that showed the must-have things in our homes today. Again, expectations are beginning to shift. And these are some of the items that are included on that list. She Shed. I don't even know if this was a thing until the State Farm commercial, back in 2012 or something like that? Where there was the whole, my she shed is on fire commercial by State Farm. Now it is a must-have item for your house. Now everybody wants professional appliances. Most people don't even know how to cook. And we out here asking for professional appliances when the only thing you're going to use is the microwave. Steam oven. I don't even know what a steam oven is. A pizza oven must be had as well. And then now it's no longer good enough to have a granite countertop. You must have a quartz textured countertop because granite is now too basic. But this is what happens. Our expectations have evolved. For weddings, it's very simple. We see influencers post the perfect wedding on Instagram or anything or any other platforms. We see celebrities do their weddings and we aspire to do the same. There's a saying that goes, what the rich buy today is what's going to be popular tomorrow. And so basically, we just pick up whatever it is that they just had and we aspire towards those things and we'll put ourselves in any kind of debt to make sure that we have it as well. So our friends do it for their wedding and then all of a sudden it's like, yo, I got to do that for mine too. I can't be caught slacking. We get caught in the cycle of trying to keep up with the Joneses. All of a sudden, something that once upon a time would have been an intimate experience has turned into a whole showcase, a media showcase. And the problem is when your expectations don't get met, some of the most joyous times, some of the most happiest experiences in your life, all of a sudden sours and becomes massive disappointments. Because we miss the forest from the trees. We miss the big picture. We focus on what we can't have or don't have because we're chasing after what everybody else said you need. We forget that when we go out to eat, it's not about the food. It's not about the restaurant. It's not about anything. It's just a medium for us to be able to experience time and spend time with those we love. When you get married, it's not about all the flashiness, the pictures, the gram, all of that. It's about this bond that you are saying, I am willing to sacrifice everything for this person in front of me. It's about you deciding that it's putting it in front of everyone and saying, this is the person that I choose. And I want you guys here to witness us become one. But that's no longer the wedding. Like my friend told me one time, it's like the wedding is for everybody. The marriage is for you. So we'll come, we'll celebrate, we'll eat. But when you got wedding problems, when you got marriage problems, don't call my phone. But that's the expectation. The expectation is I'm going to party it up. And I'm going to struggle in silence. Don't call my phone. What happens in your family stays in your family. But when you're throwing that party, though, invite me. But that's the expectation that we've created. And I think the answer to this, and this is just my personal solution to this situation of having expectations, is we need to have lower expectations. I believe low expectation leads to a lifetime of happiness. Low expectation leads to a lifetime of wealth and happiness. You see, I love two quotes of how we can implement this. The first quote is, don't go expecting Plato's Republic. Be satisfied with even the smallest progress and treat the outcome of it as unimportant. This is by Marcus Aurelius. If that doesn't make any sense to you, Plato's Republic is an ideal world. It is where things work the way they ought to work. It is where things just happen the way they're supposed to happen. The problem is, we do not live in an ideal world. We live in a broken world. If you want a lifetime of happiness, if you want joy to fill your heart, do not go around hoping the world will be what you want it to be. Rather, take the world for what it is. Take the world for what it is. An example of this. If you live in Atlanta, you know what you can automatically expect? Traffic. It is not new. Traffic is a staple of being in Atlanta. It's a very natural staple. So being upset when you get stuck in traffic is a waste of your energy and a drain to your peace of mind. If you just go in with the expectation that, oh, you know what? I'm going to be stuck in traffic today. Let me listen to some good music. Let me plan out some good podcasts that I can listen to and learn a thing or two from as I'm driving. All of a sudden, a moment that could be turned into a terrible situation turns into a time of joy and enjoyment for yourself. Turns into a time that you get to experience something that you may otherwise not experience. Do not try to make the world what it's not. Take the word for what it is and then work through that. And I think it's important for me to share this as well is do not expect that you'll be able to do everything that you desire. Unless you Jeff Bezos and, rules don't apply to you at that point. You got all the money in the world. But when it comes to our finances, in the sense of Plato's Republic, things will not be perfect. This is why I talk about all the time. Have that emergency fund. Because life is not perfect. But even more so, if we go around with these desires that we have for what our life should be, and we go around with these desires of all these things that we see other people have, and we want it for ourselves as well, and we place such a heavy burden on ourselves. And I'm saying this from experience, and saying this as something that I'm working through. Not because I figured it out, but because I'm working through it. I love this quote from Morgan Housel. It's the same one that I shared last week. If your expectations grow faster than your income, you'll never be happy with your money, no matter how much you accumulate. Which leads to the second quote, which is appreciate your position while plotting your promotion. I love this quote. It's by Jalen Rose. I love it so much. Appreciate your position while plotting your promotion. The only way you get to a position of actually having joy and happiness consistently in your life is to be grateful for where you are right now. Is to be grateful for the things that you do have right now. Is to celebrate in the mundane, simple things of your life right now. The way it positions it is be grateful for what you have. However, keep working towards your next thing. The thing is, like, when I talk to people about having lower expectations, people think like, oh, you're not ambitious, you have no goals, you don't have this, you don't have that. No. I have all of that. However, because I know life sucks, I will not let the things that I'm trying to get break me in the present day. I will not let the luxuries of life be the standard of me being able to just enjoy every day. In other words, if the luxuries are present, wonderful. I will enjoy in the luxuries. If they're not present, wonderful. I will enjoy in the basics. Because when you live a life in a way where you enjoy the mundane, boring, everyday, waking up, making a cup of coffee, looking out the window, seeing beautiful trees and beautiful flowers and all the weeds on your grass that you want to kill and you need to pull out and they keep coming back and invading your lawn. If you live in such a way, then you can enjoy when the subtle surprises of your pastor's wife making a nice dinner for you. You can enjoy when somebody just says, hey, I just wanted to say hello. You can enjoy in those simple, non-grandiose surprises that show up at our doors every single day. Somebody told to me one time, he said, you see, happiness is in your hands. You just got to grab it. You have to see it. So my question to everybody is, wouldn't it be better to live life in such a way that you get to celebrate more enjoyable moments every day? But that's all I got for y'all today. I hope y'all learned one, maybe two things out of this entire thing. And if you did, share this podcast with one person that you love, one person that you hate, and one person you're just kind of like about. And if you enjoyed it or if you loved it, hit that subscribe button and hit that like button. I'm going to catch you up on the next one. Remember, generosity is always greater than greed. God bless each and every single one of y'all. And I'm out. Peace. Whoosh.